So in less than 2 weeks, the Wii U Virtual Console store, their eShop store, that store will be closed March 27th. You will no longer be able to purchase games. I wanted to throw out just a list of games that I've picked up and a couple honorable mentions of games that I really think you should consider picking up. And the first one is Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire, $7.99, and it is a Game Boy Advance game, and it's essentially what it sounds like. It's Pokemon Pinball. And I do not have a whole lot of experience with this game. I remember playing it as a kid as in a demo unit where you're able to essentially just play Pokemon Pinball. And I thought it was really cool. I enjoyed the original Pokemon Pinball on the Game Boy Pocket. And so if you have any interest in pinball games, this is a really good one. And it's got a lot of nostalgia since it's Gen 3. And everyone's really into Gen 3 right now. So I think this game is worth picking up and worth trying. It's a good time, and who doesn't like pinball games? The next one is Mario Kart DS, which is $9.99. Mario Kart games just have a special spot in my heart. I think they're a lot of fun. And this one in particular, for its time, really got into a concept known as snaking, where you would power slide back and forth. And it was almost essential in order to be good at this game. And Mario Kart DS is one of those games, especially introduced online for Mario Kart. And it was just really just a big game for its time. And while it may not hold up the best in like today's standards, sure, it doesn't like look great graphically and all that, it's still really fun to play. And there's lots of good character variety. Once you unlock everything, you're able to use any kart combination with every character, which I think is fun. And while that's kind of a standard for like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, that was something that like at the time was unheard of. No other game had really done that in any of the Mario Kart games. You're always restricted to certain vehicle combinations within certain classes, and this game just allowed you to have the flexibility to kind of do whatever you want, which was really cool and really special. The issue with like the virtual console games when you are trying to like play up online, obviously the online functionality doesn't work anymore, so you're really kind of hurting in the fact of like, hey, there is no way to play this game with friends, but you can do the mission mode. It's still fun to try to triple star at everything. And the actual gameplay itself is really fun, especially if you're into time trials and grinding things out. You can't go wrong with Mario Kart DS. Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland is probably within my top 5 like all-time favorite Game Boy Advance games. And I've really thought about picking up this game for a while, and I thought with the store closing, I want to buy it again. And for $7.99, this game is a recreation of Kirby's Adventure on the original NES console, and I actually prefer it over the original. I could go back and play this game over and over again. It has the full, just regular story mode that is included with the original game, plus you have a boss rush, you have some just additional modes that are fun. You eventually unlock the way to play as Meta Knight, which is like one of Kirby's just original, I guess, anti-heroes and guys that you play against later in the game. So it's fun that you're able to play and explore through the game as a boss. And it's a timeless game. It's something you can go back through, play through the game in maybe about an hour, hour and a half, and really just enjoy it. There's little secrets throughout the game, so if you want to try to find those secrets, they're always there. It's a Kirby game, so it's not very hard. And so that's another reason that I think it's worth picking up, is it's something that's just cheap, fun, and I know that you're just going to have a good time because Kirby games are always fun. With the topic of Kirby games, you have Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, which was also released in the Game Boy Advance for $6.99. This is it's a Kirby game. And this one, for its time, it was fun because you could do 4 players literally on one device, and while this one you have computer-controlled ones, when it was released on Game Boy Advance, when you're playing on the physical hardware, you could actually link up 4 players to all play on the same system, which was just crazy and wild and fun. But for what it is for the Wii U Virtual Console release, it's still really fun. Plus you have the Bomb Power, which is my favorite power-up in the entire game, as well as the Mirror power-up. Both those are really fun. And for what you're getting for a Kirby game, it's one of those things. Kirby games now are like $60, and I think you could get a bunch of small Kirby games and probably get a lot more enjoyment than what you are with these standalone releases. Runbow is a game that I played through a lot when I was in school, and this would actually be like a Sunday afternoon party game. So if you like party games, Runbow is fantastic. And especially for right now, they kind of have a fire sale going on with a bunch of different virtual console games and eShop store games, and one of them is Runbow. So Runbow is normally around a $15 game, and now it's $3, which is just ridiculous for what the game offers. You have a huge story mode, you have a mission mode, and it's just ludicrous for multiplayer. You can do 8 players on one system, and it's literally just a platformer. You just run left to right or right to left, depending on the map. And there's just so many fun things that you can do with this game. It really is pretty good for single player, but it really shines when you have multiplayer. And for the price tag on it, right now it's hard to beat. It's just an absolute treat to play this game. I've already bought the game on Switch, but I think for $3, if you have a Wii U, why wouldn't you pick up this game? It's just so much fun. It's really good. There's so much to do, and you're never going to be bored with Rumbow because there's just so many little things and quirks that you can do with this game. Especially if you like time trials like Mario Kart, you definitely want to pick up Rumbow. Sin and Punishment is one of those games that I have the Wii U version of like its sequel, and I've seen people play this game, and I'm just going to be honest, I have very little experience with this game. It's a railgun shooter game, which is really cool. It's fun once you get into it. At the moment, I've not gotten into it, but I did buy this game just kind of out of an impulse to say that I've got it before it goes away. This is one of those games that was originally only really released in Japan, and to get it on like an English translation with the Wii U is kind of a rarity, and I think worth picking up. So its price tag's actually a little above of what the regular N64 Virtual Console games are, as N64 Virtual Console games are always $9.99. This one is $11.99, but for what it offers, it's still like a rare Japanese-ish type game, and if you like rail shooters, it's worth picking up. I really enjoyed the Wii U Sin and Punishment Star successor, so eventually I'll probably find myself playing through this game, do easy mode, say that I beat the game, and move on with life. But the game is still really fun, even for the little blip that I played for it, and I think if you like rail shooters or have any interest in rail shooters, this game is a gem, and I think it's worth considering and picking up. This game is just, it's crazy, it's silly, it's fun, you blast enemies, and you have a good time. Who doesn't like doing stuff like that? Donkey Kong Country Returns for Wii. Holy cow. Donkey Kong Country in general, I think is some of the best Super Nintendo games literally ever made. And this was a kind of like a sequel, if you will, to the Donkey Kong Country games, hence the name Donkey Kong Country Returns. And it was a Wii release, and now you've got it for Wii U. It's a port of the Wii version, and it's $20. And wow, it's so much fun. It's really good. It's fairly tough. The Donkey Kong Country games, I think, are always kind of on a bit of a more challenging side. I've played through them so many times, I don't find them as difficult anymore, but you are going to find that this game, for maybe just regular casual platformers, might have a hard time. But it's a lot of fun. There's so many collectibles, and so if you really want to like take your time and just slowly go through the game, you're going to have fun just collecting things as you play through the game. If you want a game to just like play through and just enjoy and have a good time, look no further. Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Wii is just a solid, fun, great game. And if you really enjoy the game, that means you can then just pick up the Wii U version of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. And while Tropical Freeze is still good, I actually enjoyed Returns a little bit more than its sequel. So if you really enjoy platformers, I would look no further than Donkey Kong Country Returns. Mario 64 DS. I'm not a huge Mario 64 fan, I'm just being honest, but it is one of those games that for $9.99, there really isn't going to be any other way to play this game well, as a lot of DS games and their functionality and how they work, from what I've been told with emulated versions, normally don't do super well because it's hard to emulate the dual screen capabilities. So something like Mario 64 DS, it's cool because it's like Mario 64, but then you have other characters of Wario, Luigi, Yoshi. You can just like use other characters, and there's more things to do than the original game. And for $10, why wouldn't you want to have more like platforming 64 adventures? And I haven't been able to dip into this game too much yet, but I've actually never played it before. So I think I'll have a good time eventually once I decide to dip more time into this game. But for what it is, I still think it's worth picking up. And the next game is Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. It was released on the Nintendo GameCube, and it used the DK Bongo controllers, which were this like weird drum peripheral controller that you could use, and you would tap left to go left and right to go right on the bongos. Now you can use the control stick, and I'm still kind of getting used to the controls on how it works on the Wii version. But the Wii version, you literally just use the control stick to move around, which should make it a little bit easier, and then use the motion controls to activate the bongo effect, which is really fun. And man, the boss battles are so much fun in this game. You essentially will always battle a boss at the end of your 3 stages for a kingdom, and at the end you battle this boss. You do kind of like this like individual showdown, you versus the boss, using motion controls. And it's really fun. And especially the dodge mechanic really responds well with the physical button layout, which I enjoy that a lot. So it makes bosses pretty easy to play. Bosses aren't terribly difficult, but what's fun about this game is like you're going to play through stages over and over and over again because you want to really get a good score. You're going to boost your combo, and the higher you boost your combo, the more bananas you get. The more bananas you get, the higher score you get. So it's something that if you want to play through the game, you can definitely do that. But to really get your full enjoyment out of this game, you're going to be playing through levels over and over again and just getting crazy high combos. And it's really fun because stages, once you get them down, are really fun to play through again and again and again. And that's what makes this game so fun, is you can literally do the same thing over and over again and still get a kick out of it, because you can get a really nice score, which is a good time, and you get fun little rewards at the end of the game based on how well you do with your scores. The next one I'm going to bring up is another game kind of like Mario 64 DS. I literally bought this game to get it. Donkey Kong 64 is a game that was put on the N64 back in the day. It was actually released with like an expansion pack because the game had so much to it. And it's one of those games that, as far as it stands right now, there's no plans to like re-release this game for the N64 on the Switch. And I think in regards to that, if you have any hesitation or desire to try to play this game, you might as well pick it up for $9.99. Because it's one of those things, we don't even know if this game is going to come back. I don't know if you want to decide, oh, you know what, hopefully Nintendo will re-release this game on the Switch. Why would you even chance it for $10? I really don't have a whole lot of exposure to this game, but I do enjoy the Donkey Kong games, and it plays very much like Banjo-Kazooie, if you're not familiar with Banjo-Kazooie. It's a collectibles-based game, and this game will play somewhat similar to that, at least in some way. It has a little bit more variation because you can play with a bunch of different characters, which is cool and fun, and if you like platforming, it should be a good time. But overall, if you have any hesitation of picking up this game, you might as well pick it up, because it's only $10, and I don't know if it's going to come back. As far as where I'm at with my list right now, I have one more game that I do want to talk about. But before I get to that, I do want to have some honorable mentions of games you might want to pick up before this service closes. I can't say enough good things about the Kirby games. There's Kirby Canvas Curse on the DS for $9.99. There's Kirby's Epic Yarn on the Wii for $19.99. Kirby Mass Attack on the DS for $9.99. Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, that's for the N64 for $9.99. And the N64 game I have played through, I have enjoyed it a lot. Probably my favorite Kirby game, or at least definitely one of my favorites that's on this service right now, is Kirby's Return to Dreamland for the Wii, $19.99. And for its value and what it is, they literally just put this game on the Switch for $60, and this is a third of its price tag, almost essentially the exact same thing, and you get a better version of King Dedede. So yeah, I think Kirby's Return to Dreamland is an absolutely wonderful game. Kirby Squeak Squad for $9.99. I have not played that yet on the DS, but, you know, Kirby games are fun. And then the last one I'm going to mention is kind of a mixed bag. I've heard a variety of different things. I enjoyed the original Pokemon Rumble, and this is Pokemon Rumble U. It is $17.99. I have not heard great things about this game, but I already picked it up, I guess because I'm smart. But I did enjoy the original Pokemon Rumble a lot. The game does get a little bit repetitive, but you played as the original 151 monsters. And this one on Pokemon Rumble U, you have more monsters to use. They actually had the little like collectibles that you could get, like collectible characters that were physical statues when like the whole Skylander thing was super hot. And they decided, hey, let's capitalize that and make a whole game based off of it. The last game that I'm going to bring up is also available on other platforms, but for its price tag, they're kind of in fire sale mode. So like, hey, let's make some money off this game before this whole service shuts down. And it's Ducktales Remastered for $3. And it's a Capcom game, and Capcom actually has some really good sales right now. So there's plenty of good sales that I've not mentioned with Monster Hunter and other games that Capcom has released. Check out some sale games because there is plenty of sales going on. There's so many titles that are really on this service that are worth talking about. You're not going to get it in all, like, just one video. But I have mentioned a couple different games that I do really enjoy, and DuckTales Remastered is just great. It's really fun. It is a just re-release of the NES game, and it's a good time. It's one of those games that it's a really simple platformer if you want it to be because you have a variety of difficulties. Right now I'm playing through normal mode, but you do have easy mode if you want it, and then you have a hard mode if you really want that. The pogo jump mechanic where you use your cane as a pogo stick, you can make it to where you just hold the button and it'll just use it, or if you want an additional challenge, you can make it the hard pogo, where that was actually how it was originally done. You had to like press the button at a certain time to activate it on enemies, but if you want something that's just easy and fun and simple, you can just do the regular easy mode and just have a really good time with this game. For $3, you can't go wrong with DuckTales Remastered. I feel kind of the same way with Runbow. When you're paying $3 for a game, you're gonna probably enjoy it. And this game is really no exception to that rule. For its price tag, it's normally a $20 game, and I think even for $20, while maybe a little steep, this game has a lot of charm to it. They really just did their best with this game. I think it's just, yeah, really fun. It's really simple, and it's one of those games that, like, hey, as far as platformers go, you're going to have fun with this game. It is relatively short, so there's not a whole lot to do, but the secrets actually do get pretty extensive. So if you really like exploring and you don't want any spoilers of the game, you can probably get a good time for $3 out of this game. So I really heavily recommend DuckTales Remastered, as it's got kind of a special soft spot in my heart. I used to play DuckTales 2 on the Game Boy Pocket all the time as a kid. It was one of the only games that I had, and it was really my first time ever playing a DuckTales game of any kind. So being able to get to play through a game that's similar in fashion, that is, you know, $3, I think is fun. I already had it for the Xbox 360, but when you've got it for such a cheap price and I can get it on the Wii U as a digital copy, I thought, hey, might as well pick it up. One of the other fun things that's just totally random that I'm going to throw at the end of this video is that you're Scrooge McDuck, right? So he has tons of money, and who doesn't love jumping in your money? So that's actually one of the things you can do, is you can jump in the Scrooge McDuck safe and literally just swim around in all your gold. And who knows, you know, hey, with how much money you saved on this game, maybe you'll be swimming in gold too. But that's some of my recommendations of this, just this service. I think that there's plenty of fun games worth picking up. Hopefully you found this helpful. Enjoy your time with the Wii U.